Things don't happen to you, they happen for you. My January, February, and March of 2022 went entirely differently than I was planning, but looking back on it now, they went exactly as they should have. Stick around because today I'm going to be sharing what I had planned for Q1 of 2022, what actually happened, and what I'm planning and doing differently in April, May, and June. You'll see firsthand how this recap process works, as well as how it can help keep you moving towards your own goals too. Before we go ahead and dive into that, if you stumbled across this video because you love watching and observing firsthand how entrepreneurs build successful businesses and one day aspire to do that yourself, then definitely stick around till the end of this video. I have a great resource that'll tell you if you have what it takes to become a confident entrepreneur. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Corey Logaitis, and I am a business strategist, coach, and TEDx speaker who helps people become entrepreneurs. Back in January of this year, I had done a series of live streams where I recapped my 2021, right? So I went through everything from, what I had planned for my 2021 goals, what actually happened in 2021, and then even shared what I was planning going into this year, 2022. The series itself was popular enough that I actually repurposed all that content into its own dedicated vlog here on YouTube. So you can check that out here. This recap process that I'm sharing here today is an essential entrepreneurial goal setting strategy. And if you want to learn more specifically how to do it, you can go ahead and check out this video here where I tell you step by step how it works. So today I'm sharing highlights from my Q1 2022 recap live stream that I done on Instagram, along with other various video clips and things that I collected while documenting the process over the last 3 months for me. Let's go ahead and dive in.
Hey, it's been a while. In big news, I didn't hit my big Q1 goal, but we're going to talk about that today. So my number one priority for the quarter was refreshing my Validate Your Biz Blueprint program. So if you're new here and you haven't really followed me, the Validate Your Biz Blueprint is my signature program. It's my baby. It's my business baby. So that's the program that I use to help folks literally go from having just the desire to own a business to actually landing paying clients in 8 weeks. So very transformative. It's something I put a lot of time, money, and energy into, and I want it to be the very best on the market. So the last overhaul of the program that I did was actually this time last year. So 2.0 or BYBB 2.0, as we called it, launched the first week in April last year. So my big goal going into this quarter was I wanted to do a program refresh. I wanted to, review all the content, make sure it was still up to date. Not that there's been any changes in business strategies and stuff like that that's relevant. I wanted to take our existing clients' feedback in order to make improvements and enhancements and make it better. And, really actually get to speak with them and survey them on what's working and what wasn't so that we can improve, right? So that was the top priority. And another goal I had for myself was creating a company dashboard. So if you haven't heard of this before, it's really a useful tool when you are tracking data, and I am huge on tracking data. I talk about this all the time, to have some kind of, whether it be a report or an online platform or some way that you can visualize your data. So this is something I have a lot of experience with. I was VP of operations for my family's business for a long time. So I was working with dashboards all the time there, but I never had the opportunity to be able to build it for my own business. Launching my own company dashboard, more for my own use than anything else, even though now I have a team. So it would be very, very helpful for me to be able to share the data with said team. That became something that I needed to start to address. So that was on my list as well. I also intended to start actively pitching for professional speaking gigs. So if you checked out my 2021 recap, re-engaging in my professional keynote business was something that I was really interested in getting up and running. Because the pandemic kind of came into play and I got pregnant too, which prevented me from traveling. So that was something I wanted to add that revenue stream back into my business. So that was on my Q1 list. And then lastly, I also wanted to be sure that we were consistently producing long form content. So this was something I started to address in the end of 2021. And I onboarded literally a 4-person team in a matter of a week. It's kind of crazy. So we're all still working at it. We've been creating amazing content. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that process in a minute, but that was definitely a priority. So my intent was I wanted to be doing one long form piece of content. So for us, that's a long form YouTube video as well as a blog post that's SEO optimized for evergreen reach, and make sure that we were doing that every single week. I didn't have the capacity to do that before on my own. And so that was the goal. So in January, and the way I like to break this out is, wins and challenges. So what went well? What didn't go so well? So in January, some big wins were we relaunched my YouTube channel. So we are now 12 videos under our belt. We definitely hit that goal of doing a new video each and every week. So that was huge. I'm super excited about that because many of you guys may or may not know, I actually am a fine artist by trade, but I went to school for video art. I also did manage to scrap together the time to create that company dashboard. So I created my dashboard in Google Data Studio, is where I created mine. And it's actually pretty neat because it automatically links in all the different Google Sheets that we use. And we're able to visualize and look at all the different contents, how our content is performing, what the click-through rates are, what are the most popular pieces of content over the course of the month. We look at our overall funnel. So it shows us everything from how many impressions our content made all the way through how many opt-ins and how many sales calls, and then how many enrollments into VYBB we did. So I was really excited and really proud to get that done because I did that on my own. I just hire out for that when I probably should have. We also onboarded a new team member. So I do have a dedicated VA now that helps with things like uploading content. So that was something that needed to get addressed that we were able to do. As a result of that, another big win was we were able to really fine tune our SOPs, our standard operating procedure documents. This was really necessary because I suddenly had a 4-person team. So our processes had to be really kind of ironclad to make sure that everybody knew what was going on and when. And the one thing that I find is actually pretty impressive, and this is something that we were able to really be able to fine tune over the course of the entire quarter, is we manage all of this digitally. My team is across the world, at this point, all different time zones. And we manage everything digitally through online communication tools like Slack. And we only have a meeting once a month to get on the same page and keep everything going in the right direction. And we still have high performance rates. So I've been really, really pleased with how that turned out. And that's a result of taking time to do all these SOP processes and stuff like that. One thing that was a big focus for me in January specifically was related to the top priority of overhauling my VYBB program. So what I did in January was I actually literally took my own class. So I took the curriculum myself. That was 8 weeks worth of content. It's like 8 or 10 hours worth of, videos and worksheets. And, we'd have spreadsheets and templates and resource lists and reading lists and all sorts of stuff involved in, this program. So I actually went through everything myself as if I was a new student to make sure that everything was up to date and really followed current business trends and business, practices. We also created a separate CRM or customer relationship management system specifically for the speaking business. I didn't have that before, but since I was looking to get back into keynoting now that the pandemic was over, that was something that we had to do because when we started to do outreach to all of the different events and event planners and stuff that we wanted to reach out to, we had to have a system in place to be able to effectively communicate with everybody. So that got built. Again, this was all just in January. And mind you, I work 20 hours a week. So keep that in mind. I'm sharing everything. Now, there's a few things that came up that were challenging, right? So one challenge was post-COVID. So if you caught these live streams back at the end of 2021, my entire family caught COVID right at Christmas. And as a result, going into January, my husband and I were really, really gun shy on having babysitters in our home for childcare. That wasn't until things started to settle down. So we agreed that I would be the primary caretaker of our daughter, who's 10 months old, and I would shift my working schedule to evenings, right? So that was one thing that was a big challenge because it totally disrupted my entire routine and my schedule. As a result of that, filming for YouTube became very difficult. for me because I'm in a house full of kids. So it wasn't conducive. I found myself really getting stressed out in trying to create the content on time and hit the deadlines for my team. The other thing that was very challenging, and I'm sure any of you guys out there who are marketers can relate to this, especially if you do a lot of marketing on Facebook. Facebook in particular had always been one of the #1 revenue generators for my Validate Your Biz Blueprint program. And we really started to encounter some challenges on the platform, especially with Facebook groups. So the way that groups were being managed, the way that the algorithms were starting to show content to people, things that were getting a lot of views weren't anymore. And I speak about this a lot. You always do what's worked for you in the past. So having these, winning posts and processes that we were doing on a regular basis, suddenly not having the same results was incredibly frustrating. And we were going to have to figure that out. So that was a very, very big shift. And also with the Facebook group in particular, my Validate Your Biz Blueprint program has a private Facebook group for our paid clients. So we started running into issues where our clients weren't getting notices for things. I wasn't getting tagged on, questions and stuff that people were asking. So the platform just in general, I've found to be kind of a disaster in terms of being able to communicate with people and nowhere near the way that it was before. So that was definitely a very big challenge going into February. So let's talk about February. So some big wins that myself and my team had in February was I had, first and foremost, a huge mindset shift regarding building an audience. So this may come as a surprise to you because my audience is fairly large. So being completely transparent across all of my different platforms, including email lists, my audience tops out at around 40K. And I don't know why, but it wasn't until one of my mentors pointed out to me on a call within February, I still had this limiting mindset that I felt that I had to keep growing my audience. And I was really tasked with, well, Corey, why aren't you diving in and getting to know your existing audience better, on a bigger level, taking full responsibility. This was something that I did a lot at the very, very beginning when I built my audience. I absolutely love connecting with people on social media platforms. I love building networks. I love, relationships and really knowing what motivates people, what they're, looking for, who I can connect them to. And this was something I really got away with and due in large part to all the different changes popping up in my life, being a new mom and, getting married and all these different things. So it was something I had gotten away with. So I really made it an intention within February that actually going into March, because I learned this throughout the course of February, that I was really going to dive in deep with my audience and get to know them on a much deeper level. So that was a really big win because if I didn't have that mindset shift in February, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now in April. So that was huge. Another huge win, and this was actually a suggestion from my husband, was in terms of my YouTube filming. So I was having challenges really making the time to be able to produce the content and to do so on a regular basis without stressing me out. So one of the things that he had suggested I do, because he tells me I need to get out of the house more often, which is true, I do. I'm at home all day running my business with a 10-month-old kid. So he said, why don't you, take one day, a weekend, and I have the kids, mind you, we have 4 total at any given moment, and go out and do something for yourself. So for me, the thing I wanted to do for myself is I love creating long form video. It's a creative outlet for me. I haven't done it in a long time. So what I started to do was one day a month, I take out a co-working space where I rent a private office and I'm able to shoot for 6 hours straight, a whole lot of YouTube content. So I did that for the first time in February and it worked out amazing. It was so fulfilling. I was so in flow. It just was effortless. It was awesome. So that was a huge check mark that it was something that I was able to kind of crack that process and figure out a solution. And I felt really, really good about that. In February, I also took an entire week off from my business to spend time with my kids for winter break, which was one of the first times I've really been able to do this and completely unplug because I actually have a team helping support me now, which is great. So things still ran on the background. I was able to take that time off with my kids. It was a long time goal of mine, and that felt great. Also during this time frame too, I started exploring and testing other types of marketing strategies that I could use to help make up for that Facebook issue that I was having back in January. I talk a lot about how entrepreneurship is trying, testing, and failing on a repeating basis. I had to finally get wise to the fact that what I did before that was working great suddenly isn't. And I had to come to acceptance that it wasn't going to work anymore and find other solutions. So really in February, I started testing out and looking at new platforms, different places that I could, go and hang out, where I could find, my potential clients. I really kind of carried that into March as an intention to really focus on that. So in terms of things that did not go well in February, let's talk about the bad stuff. One of the worst things that happened was several of my systems broke big time. So I had systems, for example, our paid clients within the Validate Your Biz Blueprint. We have a online submission form for questions if people can't join the group coaching call. And I found out about 3 weeks too late that people were submitting questions for the calls and I wasn't getting them. So not little, I mean, that's a fairly big thing, but it was things like that were breaking in the system as we scaled that I needed to be able to address. So I learned about that. I was also really during February struggling to keep up with all the delegation and all of the, creating the standard operating procedure documents. So creating all those documentations as well as delegating, I knew that long term that being able to delegate was going to get a lot of stuff off my plate to free up my capacity to do other things. But I really found myself getting stressed out in all the little details of the SOPs and just trying to get it all done. Because there's that really kind of messy phase in between while you're waiting for your new team to kind of pick up the slack where you have to be able to make that transition. So that did put a bit of stress on me. The other thing that I found myself getting very, very stressed out about, and this is just full transparency here, I was starting to get overwhelmed, financially towards running my business because I had a certain amount of runway that I had chosen that I was going to be investing into doing more long form evergreen content, which I knew is a long-term play, right? So instead of paying money for paid ads, for example, I decided I wanted to invest in my team to create really, really stellar evergreen content that can be found via SEO that will pay for years to come. Doing this while also having the challenges that the consistent revenue that we were seeing before was off due to the challenges that we were seeing on Facebook, and Facebook was our primary revenue generator at that time, was a lot of peaks and valleys. So I was getting very, very stressed out with the unpredictability of what was going on in the business and how long I was going to be able to keep up the content project. With all that said, going into March, right, I learned so much in March. March was such a great month. So let me share a bit on how the quarter had wrapped up. So in terms of wins, I learned so much about you guys in my audience in March because I made it a point that every single day I was reaching out in the DMs proactively to speak to everybody. The one thing that I found so fascinating is how many of you guys, number one, really do appreciate the content that I share, but you have a tendency not to actually comment or to like things. So for me, I'm looking at a lot of my recent content, especially the new stuff that I've been invested in with my team, thinking that it's not performing. Yet I'm having these conversations in the DMs with people telling me how much they love this specific piece of content that they didn't happen to like or comment on, which is fine. So, it makes a lot of sense because in the Validate Your Biz Blueprint, my signature program, one of the things that we do is we teach aspiring entrepreneurs how to land their first paying clients without needing to resort to things like websites, content, or paid ads. So the fact that, my audience wouldn't necessarily like to interact on content and don't want to create content makes complete and total sense to me. And that is something I never, ever would have realized had I not actually, dove into the DMs and really started to get to know you guys. Right. So if you haven't heard from me yet, you will. It's a consistent daily habit now that I'm reaching out to people to say hello and ask what kind of stuff you want to hear from me. The other thing that I was able to figure out in March, which was a big win, was fixing that system. Right. So fixing the Facebook lead problem was, by the time I took all of February and most of March into it, I figured out the issue is literally Facebook, and I do the exact same things on different platforms, and I'm finally getting those results again, which is really infuriating. So I've expanded into new platforms to get to know people. So you may or may not know I'm on Reddit now. Reddit I find completely fascinating. Totally different. I've been a content creator for so long. I find it really kind of cool and interesting that folks on Reddit love the anonymity of it. So that's been a little unique for me getting used to. But yeah, so I've been on platforms like Reddit, on LinkedIn, doing more organic marketing and outreach that way. So we've seen our call volume come back to consistent levels that it was before the Facebook problem. So that's great. So always test out new strategies. Don't, throw spaghetti against the wall too long, even if it's something that produced results for you before, because there's probably a reason why that isn't necessarily your fault. So try out new things, right? One of the things that we've learned. I also figured out too, a huge reason as to why my call volume was off. And the biggest reason, and this again was through talking in the DMs to people, as well as, actually having conversations with folks on, how to schedule calls, when are good times. The shifting my schedule to the evenings actually restricted a lot of people from being able to have conversations with me who wanted to, whether it be to enroll in the Validate Your Biz Blueprint or other types of programs. So it was a very quick fix, having a few, babysitting days, which honestly I've loved because I haven't had to split my day up. It's all over the place, puzzle Tetris pieces. And all of a sudden my calendar booked up by being able to accommodate the hours that I was doing work with the people who I wanted to connect with. So that was a huge big win. And I'm so happy. So if you were somebody who had been looking to try to get a call scheduled with me and weren't seeing any availability, definitely hit me up. Let me know we've, fixed the calendar and there's way more opportunity. The other huge win, which I was super excited about, is the YouTube content is performing on point. I have been so pleased with how that's been going. And I'm excited to actually share that data with my team, in April. So that has been working amazing. Our systems are great. We're really tight, really organized. My team does really amazing work. So I've been more than happy with everything. And I'm sure if you guys are watching this right now and you've watched the YouTube content and you enjoy it, definitely drop a comment. Let my team know, because they will probably go in and look at this, what an awesome job they are doing. Because let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is the whole title of this live stream, that I didn't hit my goal for Q1. So the big goal was to have my Validate Your Biz Blueprint program overhauled, the annual refresh. Truth is, I didn't get that done within Q1, but here's what I did do with it, right? So it's like I didn't hit the goal, but I did. So one of the big things that I noticed throughout the research process, after number one, actually looking at all my content, and number two, then actually diving in with my existing clients and asking them what their feedback was, mixed into all of that messiness was actually the Facebook group challenge that I was mentioning earlier. So a lot of folks weren't getting announcements on time. Things just weren't working the way that they were supposed to be within our paid community. And it's supposed to be there for support. So I didn't like the way it was functioning, and it wasn't serving myself or serving my clients. So the reason I got put behind on that project was because I then sought out to look for another platform that I can move my groups to. So I was really excited. My program has actually moved to a service called Mighty Networks. You may or may not have heard of it, but basically it's allowed me to create my own kind of Corey Lowe Facebook. Which has been really kind of cool. So all of my clients have their own profile. They could put their business links. They could put their social media. They could search for each other based on the industry that they're in. So they might actually be able to network. And all of the training curriculum is on the same platforms. They no longer have to switch between being on Facebook to being on an online course platform like Thinkific and having all these different logins. Now there's one login, one community. They can choose their alerts. They will get everything that they're looking to get now because they're in control of how the algorithm works and not Facebook in particular. So that was a huge change, and that put me behind because I had to actually set up this new platform and test it beforehand. So within March, we actually had some of our newer members who had just enrolled in March in there first to test it before we invited everybody else, which that email actually went out today. So I'm really, really happy. So that was a big check off my list. So I did kind of hit the goal, but I didn't at the same time because it's technically going in April. Another big win was I finally upgraded my laptop. So I wanted to be able to do more video stuff on my own. My laptop was simply too slow. It was over 10 years old. So I made some investments to be able to have better equipment to be able to create more content, right? To help and serve. So challenges, because there were still challenges in March that I am now carrying into April that are also going to play into my April plans. Our sales conversion rate took a dip because of leads not being as qualified as they were in the past, due in large part to all of the testing that I've had to do on different platforms. When you go on a different platform, it's a completely different market, different needs. So it's really been interesting trying to balance all of that out to find the right mix and be able to attract the best clients for the Validate Your Biz Blueprint within there. So that has been a little bit of a challenge, but I foresee that getting much, much better moving into April. And as a result of that, and I shared this earlier, and I'm being very transparent, our operating expenses have been razor thin. Carrying the team with the enrollment rates dipping up and down and all of these challenges that we've had with, the sources of our lead generation before kind of no longer being relevant. So things have been a little wacky in terms of that, but I think we're finally, the end of March in particular really kind of showed that we were settling into a new, more consistent routine. So I'm excited to see what's up for April. Overall, our opt-in conversions were a little off too. So meaning I have a free masterclass that I run on a regular basis. There's a free quiz, and that I know is all on me because I haven't been talking about it, which is my own damn fault. Here's what I'm planning for Q2. My number one priority going into April, May, and June is the following. I want to be further refining my systems in general to create more consistent on-demand leads. So like I said before, I do all organic marketing. Nothing is paid with the exception of my team to produce content. One of the things with social media in particular that's great is social media. It's kind of like an automated lead flow. It can kind of work like a light switch. You turn it on and off, like, oh, I need to fill my calendar. Okay, so flip it on. Oh, I don't, I could turn it off. Whereas strategies like YouTube or my blog, SEO is more evergreen, and that works in the background. That's taking some time, and I've known that since the beginning of the year to be able to build that. And I've been invested in that. But I feel that we have some work to do in order to get our on-demand flow a bit better. So that's definitely a focus for me going into Q2. And also to finally finish my Validate Your Biz Blueprint enhancement. So I want to be able to officially launch 3.0. I did all of that work in January to go through the program. I have all my notes. I just need to actually make time to re-record the content and make those improvements, which I'm actually glad that I did wait for that. And this is one of those examples too, where the universe kind of makes things, happen for you, not to you. It was good that I didn't do all of that in January or February because I wasn't aware of the issues that we were having with the Facebook groups at that time. And I ultimately decided to change platforms. So now that we're on a new platform, granted the old program is up there. It works just fine. There's just a lot of references to Facebook groups and 2 different places to find information. I'll be able to go through it all at once and make all the changes at once and be able to, before the end of this month in April, be able to upload the 3.0 version. So I'm really, really excited about that. Another big project on deck for me is auditing our YouTube channel as well as our blog. I want to make sure that the content is easy for you to find what it is that you're looking for, depending on the topic. Our categories and stuff are a little bit wacky right now. So I'm going to be definitely dialing in that. And then further refining systems. So I was a VP of operations. So I love data. I love systems. I love making things automated. So some of the things we're going to look into automating are things like collecting social proof from our clients, different email nurture sequences, making those masterclasses I was talking about that I've been so crappy at promoting them, making them more of an on-demand model so that more people can benefit from them. Mind you, I'm going to continue to only work 20 hours a week and take care of all this in that time. So it seems like a tall order. I also have one additional bonus goal that I'm including for myself in there, but I am not going to share what that is. I'm going to share that with you when I do this live stream again, June 30th roundabout at the end of the quarter. And I'll share with you what that is.
So there you have it. If my sharing my Q1 life and business recap resonates for you and you're wondering if you have what it takes to become a confident entrepreneur yourself, then go ahead and click the link in the description. There you'll find a free 8-question quiz that will help you determine whether or not you're a natural born entrepreneur or whether or not it's a skill that you'd be able to build and exactly what you need to do in order to become a confident one. Click the link below in the description to find out how. Hopefully you found me sharing this vlog helpful today. And if you really enjoyed what I was talking about, you can be sure to go ahead and check out these videos next. I think you'd appreciate them. If you truly found what I shared valuable today, I'd also appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Thanks, and I will see you next time.